Hello and welcome to today's edition of Route 664, The Road to Human Kindness. I'm Les Winston, I'm your host, and I'm also the national spokesperson for socialsecharity.org. Well, one of the questions that I get all the time is, how does social security help me? How can I use social security? Sounds like social security. Does it give me an income? Yes, it does. It gives you an income. Does it something I can count on? Yes, you can count on it. Is it something that I get some tax benefits for? Yes, you get some tax benefits for it. But how do I use it? How do I use this social security? Well, one way you can do that is you can create a buffer, a tax buffer, a way to offset tax. Most of you probably work in an organization that gives you a 401k, and you have accumulated money in the 401k, and that money is growing, and eventually you're going to take it out. But when you take it out, because of the terms of the 401k section of the tax code, you're going to have to pay tax on that money when you withdraw it in the form of income. All of it is taxed because it was all tax deductible going in. So if you have to pay the tax on that, that diminishes the value of that 401k income. Well, you can do something about that. You can use Social Security, an equal amount of Social Security, to offset the tax situation in the 401k and convert 401k income to Roth 401k. That's a conversion that most people don't know about, but it's very valuable because taxes have to be paid on the income when it's distributed, and the income will be the greatest when it is distributed, because that's the purpose of the 401k, to grow and to increase as much as possible the income that's distributed. So if the income is going to be the greatest when the tax might be the greatest, it would certainly be a good thing not to have to pay the tax. That's a little tip about Social Security and the use of Social Security, but it's sophisticated, and you need to work with a professional philanthropic advisor, somebody who can help you actually do the work. That's the key to saving tax dollars, increasing income, and then eventually you even get to direct that money into the community where you see fit, where you think it should go, rather than have a government distribute it for you. It's much better. It's a win-win for everybody. Get in touch with a professional philanthropic advisor. Find one in our Find an Advisor section of socialsecharity.org. And you will find an advisor there that we're going to be meeting with right now. We've done an interview with Michael Kohner. And here's that interview that we did earlier in this week. To today's edition of Route 664 Radio and Route 664, The Road to Human Kindness. We are with a very important individual in the realm of philanthropy and intricate planning. He is well known in the West Palm Beach area, and Michael Kohner is a CAP, an AEP, and a chartered advisor in philanthropy. It is the latter that I'd like to talk about first, Michael. I know that you have been involved in very complex transactions. When you go to the site where we can find out more information about you, you've dealt with multi-billion-dollar transactions, and you've even helped with an NBA franchise, which I'd love to find out more about. Yeah. But I wanted to focus more on the Chartered Advisor in Philanthropy designation and how you came to that designation all those years ago.
Yeah, Les. I mean, it was kind of I've always been involved in philanthropy, and a few professionals kind of came together and said, was I interested in joining a study group? And I'm like, kind of talking more about it. Margaret Date and she and Dick Flaw and a few other people, and we kind of put a group together of about 25 people. And instead of just studying for CAP, we did that in our own time. But when we brought outside speakers in and really made the program of a year, I mean, it was one of those things where we bound a bunch of professionals together that kind of worked together loosely around stuff. And, again, it was about not thinking about the how to do a transaction, but it really drove, as caps do, the passion of the donors and really how to close larger gifts and more meaningful impact gifts. And I think that,
the Chartered Advisor in Philanthropy, the designation is only held by about 2,200 people today. And of course, it needs to be developed more. And what's one of the things that we're doing with Endow American Network Foundation, we're trying to build the number of Chartered Advisors in Philanthropy. But when you're in that study group, the way that you're relating to the others in that mode where you're dealing with this idea of planning for charitable wealth in the community, how does it bond you all together? How does it make it work as a collaboration?
Well, I think one of the things that was important was to cross-pollinate with various different professionals, including philanthropists themselves. How to approach a gift. I mean, if you look at it from the advisor point of view, we're always trying to be tax efficient. Sometimes killing larger gifts, right? You're so much about the technique than you are about why the gift, and why the more meaningful gift over a long period of time. If you look at it from the charity's point of view, sometimes they weigh so heavy on the sales cycle, they disenchant the donor and then, they freeze. I think it's when everybody comes together, all the professionals, the attorneys, the accountants, the life insurance advisors, the philanthropy, and you work as a team, that's when you really can close these larger gifts.
So that kind of evolved into an organization that you created in Palm Beach County, where your office is, where you continued the study group into another form of organization. What was that organization?
So that was Advisors for Philanthropic Impact. After we finished and we all received the CAP designation, I was the one in the room that said, now what? Okay, we all did this. Why did we do this? And we basically created a three-headed stool. One of it was, the one leg was we wanted to be resources to other charities to basically be talking, to the donor groups about larger gifts, about strategies, and about their passions. The other one was training more caps. And, in the end of the day, we finished off with about 75 caps over the next 3 years. So after 4 years, we had about 75 caps in Palm Beach County. And the one I kind of got passionate about, we all kind of decided we were looking at, where can we make a difference and an impact really in our local community? And we looked at youth philanthropy, and particularly at the high school level. We picked up a 10-week curriculum for Main Street Philanthropy and taught that at two of the local high schools. That kind of became where the whole school wanted to train every one of their kids. And we weren't an educational facility, but that then when we were looking, how to really bring the whole community together in youth, then morphed into something that I co-founded with Evan Duell from Bernstein Alliance called Philanthropy Tank. And over the last 7 years, we've funded about 40 projects, probably over $650,000, and impacted probably 300,000 people in our local community, with empowering high school students kind of in a Shark Tank-like mechanism where they do a pitch, but we coach the kids, fund them, and then mentor their philanthropic concepts. And a lot of these projects just turned into amazing stories over the last 7 years. And then last year we branched out and we launched a second location in Baltimore, and we're looking at other locations now to take this national.
Well, we would love to do that here in Dade County. Was that strictly in Palm Beach County? And how did you determine what high schools? Was it open to all the high schools in West Palm Beach County, or?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that was pretty important was cross-pollinating, not serving public schools, private schools. It's everybody, including the virtual school system. So anybody that has, some tie to education in Palm Beach County, whether you live here or not, but it was either the concepts in Palm Beach County. That was our first location, and then we did morph it into Baltimore last year, and they're getting ready to launch. They're taking applications for year number 2.
That's great. So they already had one philanthropy tank event in Baltimore.
Correct.
Great. And so, how receptive are the young people to this?
So there's an application process, and again, we had to build the village, and so we worked through all the schools and had an outreach program, and then to the public school system, and it helped in some of my prior dealings being chair of the Palm Beach Education Foundation, but working with the superintendent of schools, and then really working with some of the local charities, Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, the Community Foundation of Palm Beach and Martin County, and other charities, and we all grouped together to find these concepts and then inspire the kids to actually fill out an application. We then have created a curriculum, and we're teaching the kids philanthropy during their scenario where they're putting ideas together. We run workshops now over the summers to help kids nurture their idea, and we coach them into helping them put their application process together.
All of this is done by volunteers as part of your group. Is that
as volunteers? We now have 4 full-time employees between the 2 locations. That's their full-time jobs. So
wow. So it's not so you have volunteers that are doing the teaching, but you have somebody that's organizing all of that. Because I did attend a philanthropy tank presentation in Palm Beach. I think the finals, actually. I don't know what you call them, whether they're finals or the actual presentation to the philanthropists. It was just a fantastic event. That was very impressive. It was really quite well done, and I would like to really duplicate that here in Dade County and even in Broward County if we can. I'd love to talk to you more about how we can spread the word about Philanthropy Tank and how we can deal with these workshops locally, also to deal with Main Street philanthropy. I know that was, I think that was created by a gentleman up in New Jersey, whose name escapes me right now, but I do remember Main Street philanthropy, where we're teaching young people how to be philanthropic, because I guess everybody's of the same opinion that as the older generation is dying off, where will the philanthropy come from?
Yeah, I mean, I think, when everybody's kind of worried about the next generation. We always, as older people, we tend to think that way. But some of these kids are amazing. Their passions, they just need a little bit of help. And sometimes they don't have the filters of accepting no, like so easy for us to say why you can't do something. But they care really about the world they're living in. And I mean, some of the concepts have been, some softer than others, kids mentoring kids. But I mean, we've had Princesses for Cancer, and they dressed up as princesses and guys as superheroes and go into the hospitals and just spend time with cancer. There was someone donating Legos kits, sanitizing them in the hospitals for kids. We've had stuff with animals, horses, helping horses for underprivileged kids. And then we've had, a park built in Delray Beach that's handicapped accessible, one of the few in the country, really a cool thing, teaching swimming lessons to kids that, would drown otherwise if they got pushed into a pool for some reason, and working with the YMCA that way. Baltimore was some heavier subjects, gun violence. They built a park honoring people, lives torn apart by some of the bad stuff that's happening in that community, human trafficking, and looking at the problems there in the Baltimore area. And then the thing that's been really kind of cool is the cross-pollination, not only from year to year between the kids, but, people who are out trying to help people out in the Glades, and one of the girls from Boca Raton and was dealing, and there was a girl who out in the Glades had put together this symposium that brought together the politicians, the police officers, the teachers, about the real issues faced by Belle Glade. And she's like, I want to help these kids. And she goes, well, I'll take you on a tour. And she literally took her to visit Belle Glade. I mean, we never would have made that stuff up. It just kind of happened,
That's
in real
fantastic.
time. And it was really special to see.
The younger generation is going to teach the older generation how to solve the problems because it's not working the other way very well. And I must say that the whole concept was and is a fantastic way of approaching a change in the world. And that's one of the things that I think that you're accomplishing with that kind of work that you're doing, Michael. I really admire that, and I would love to duplicate it because I think that the communities need it very desperately. We're trying to build charitable wealth, but the charitable wealth doesn't mean anything if people don't know what to do in order to help it work. I mean,
one kid created CAN code to help teach coding to Title I kids in middle schools. We had somebody recently get on the Kelly Clarkson show. So he was teaching technology to seniors, particularly at Morris Life up here in West Palm Beach. When COVID happened, became a real problem. But in the end, it ended up being unbelievable because it was the only way for seniors to communicate with their families was to get on an iPad or a phone and have a chat like we're having now, Les. I mean, and it was kind of amazing. And then when the registrations had to happen to get the COVID appointments in the very early stages of that, when they were signing up at Publix and Walgreens and the like, he put a band of classmates together and they were helping seniors register to get their COVID shots. So, I mean, it was pretty neat to see. I mean, it was really inspiring.
So those young people are going to go on to be leaders in the community for other reasons as well, I'm sure, and they're going to become more successful by having done this kind of independent thinking and putting themselves in a position to use their creative ability. And so just so the audience gets an idea, the philanthropy tank concept is similar to Shark Tank, right? Where the presentation is made by groups of young students who have put together an idea, and then they present it to the philanthropists in a setting similar to Shark Tank, where you lay out your idea, and then the philanthropists, they decide whether they're going to support it or not. Is that how that works?
Yeah, and it's not just financial support. I mean, they literally are then mentoring the students for at least, we want 12 months, but some of them have gone on to be much longer. And these, again, it's not about a one and done project. I mean, there's got to be sustainability. I mean, big part of the criteria that we're using is the ability that it can, baton. It's not that a kid goes off to college and then the program ends. Most of these projects are now still around. I think we've had over 15 actually get their own 501c3 statuses, and we've helped them get that. And they're off running and fundraising themselves. And so they continue to carry on. And a lot of these kids have come back and given back. The one girl I mentioned that was out from Belle Glade came back, and then she became a counselor at the Boys and Girls Club out in Belle Glade. And then now she's graduated from Howard University. And, we took a very shy young girl and turned her into a lifelong skill sets. And she's a pretty powerful individual now. And, it's kind of like my own kids. I'm very proud of them, but these are all my kids and Evan's kids. And now Amy, who's our, paid CEO, and watching these kids grow up around you, and then watch them now coming back from college. And actually one of the girls from the first year on this woman empowerment group actually got a job working for one of the philanthropist investors' own foundation now. And she's still mentoring other philanthropy tank, and she's got her involved in that. So it's now starting to come full circle 7 years later, and it's just really cool to watch.
So it started roughly 7 years ago?
Yeah. But I mean, it goes all the way back, though, as we started the conversation, to the CAP class and inspiring our group thing 10 years ago, you know, because I was like, let's not just get the CAP designation, just like you know, what are we going to do with this? How are we going to make an impact in the world, and the time and effort that you spend? It's part of the educating more CAPs, but it's also, you have a CAP designation. What are you going to do with it? You know, how are you going to make an impact?
Thank you for that, Michael. That's very important for our listeners to hear, and I appreciate the candor and also the vigor that you're expressing in what we're dealing with here. That it's really important for philanthropy to take hold and to remain an important aspect of what we do in our communities, and that everybody has the potential to work in philanthropy, whether it's by giving money or their time. It is vital to the era of human kindness that we've entered into, and I think that the whole idea of collaboration with with the leaders, with the advisors, with the charitable organizations, that's going to do more to help our communities than anything that government could possibly do, because people really feel for each other. And I must say that it's a fantastic opportunity to have this time with you, Michael. I appreciate it very much. And I hope that our listeners will take what we're talking to heart. If there are young people out there that want to communicate with us, they can do that on our website at socialcharity.org. If the leaders in the community like what we're talking about, they can also try to get involved with organizing our own philanthropy tanks here locally and starting to teach our kids. And we want to follow the model that you've established in Palm Beach, and it's now taking shape in Baltimore. That's also really impressive. And I would thank you again for the time this morning, Michael. Michael Kohner. Michael is a CPA practicing in Palm Beach County. He also has a designation of AEP, and most importantly, he has a Chartered Advisor in Philanthropy designation, which is what we've been talking about this morning. And thank you very much for joining us on Route 664, Michael.
Absolutely.
Thank you. What's going on in Aventura, Sunny Isles Beach?
Well, you know, we had a great meeting on Monday over at Moe's Bagel. We had a big turnout. Actually, we had about close to 30 people, and we had a very, very famous author, Seth Branson, speak about his new book, Restaurants that have passed. They're no longer with us.
Dead restaurants.
He unloaded a whole bunch of memorabilia that basically everybody was in shock to see the stuff, advertising art from days gone by. We also had Chan Medical Center do a presentation. And then Blake Roses did a presentation about floral design. And we're active in the community. I will be meeting again with some of the prospective landlords that would consider building a charter school. And the charter school that we're envisioning, it will be using this same Shark Tank program, you know.
Picked up on that. Okay. Well, you were able to hear the show then, so you like the idea.
Yeah. No, there was just a dead spot for about 3 minutes there.
Okay. All right. So the Shark Tank. So the Shark Tank concept. How do we get that into Aventura and Sunny Isles Beach? We'd have to go to there is a high school in Aventura. Maybe we could start with that. Maybe we should do North Dade or maybe the Uptown region. North Miami Beach, North Miami, Miami Shores. Go to those high schools, and I think we need to get permission from the school board. They meet here on occasion. I see them here. So if they're listening to this show, I listen to their shows. If they're listening to this show, we'd like you to consider maybe having a meeting about Shark Tank. Not Shark Tank. Philanthropy tank.
Philanthropy tank, yeah.
Philanthropy tank. Philanthropy tank is good for the high school students who are involved. It creates a lot of community activity, interest, and also does things to help the community. And it does it through the young people, which is really a good thing. So I just wanted to help you with that advertisement, Joe.
Excellent. This concept, philanthropy tank, it could be a dream come true for young entrepreneurs, because and God bless America, it doesn't take a long time to become super successful. And guess what? Now you have to figure out what to do with your money.
Yes.
And this would be a dream come true, that small little philanthropic causes can be flourishing in our backyard. This is a wonderful thing.
Okay, Joe. Are we going to have a Joe Knows as a closer, or are we going to have a... Yeah, that's enough of Joe. All right.
That's enough of Joe. Hey, be well, and I'll see you at the next meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Route 664, the Road to Human Kindness. I'm Les Winston. I'm the national spokesperson for socialsacharity.org. Be sure to visit our Facebook and our YouTube sites, and you can see these interviews replayed. You can also listen to Route 664 Radio, which is at route664.org/radio. route664.org/radio. Some really great music, some great shows, great features. You'll hear Heroic Fridays. You'll hear the Legends of Charity, the Adventures of Charity, Classy Sunday, Just Jazz. These are Shambhala. Yeah, the DJ. We forgot about DJ Shambhala. He's on Friday nights, the party before the party. So be sure to listen in. Great music, great talent. And I want to thank Wanda Miles for producing a terrific radio station and having your undivided interest when you listen. Thanks a lot for listening in today to the Road to Human Kindness, Route 664. We'll see you next week.